Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Kiv, your favorite degenerate, and today I want to talk about the symbols that were on the banished bases and structures during the Halo Infinite campaign overview that we saw just recently. I didn't really notice too many of these at first, but after I saw a couple of them, I properly went through the entire overview looking for them, and yeah, they're everywhere. So today, I thought I would make a video talking about what they might mean and what we can tell from them so far. So let's Spartan jump right into it. So let's start off at the beginning. This is the first one that we see front and center. And you may think, okay, well, big deal, sure, but when we go through areas that we saw a lot more gameplay of, like the silo, these symbols are everywhere. I counted 10 occurrences where you could see the symbol on the walls of the silo, and that is crazy. You know, 343 wouldn't put these different symbols all around a banished base for no good reason. They have to mean something. It's just, what do they mean? And the thing is, each different banished base has a different symbol on it. The silo has that snake-looking one, but the vehicle sort of construction area that you fly the Wasp over to has a different-looking symbol. So there is that, and then so does the strongholds. It's kind of interesting, and it's got me a bit puzzled. So I think that there are a couple of different things that these symbols could mean. So if you're going to put these symbols around your bases, then they have to have some kind of meaning, or they have to have a reason for putting the symbols there. And I honestly believe that it goes back to Halo Infinite being a bit more similar to an RPG. Now, I have a couple of theories, but where I'm putting my money on is that these symbols are going to act like a password or a key, something to give you access to collectibles, loot, rewards, you know, all the good stuff that you want in a Halo RPG. So let's kind of backtrack here and take a step back to how this all works. In the campaign, you're going to encounter various bases. Now, inside of these bases and camps and structures that are controlled by the Banished, you will have areas where you will see that they have collectibles, and we saw this in the reveal when we came to the silo. Underneath that, it showed you how many collectibles were inside of it and, you know, how much your progress was out of collecting all of them. So, obviously, some areas are going to have rewards for clearing out the Banished from them. Now, when you have cleared out the Banished, you want to make sure that the player actually has a sense of being rewarded. They're not just picking up loot, and they're not just collecting things on the side. You want to add value. So, a lot of RPGs do that by putting something inside of a locked chest. So that way, when the player unlocks it, they feel as if there is some kind of satisfaction and meaning to what they have just done. So I think that's what this is going to be. It pretty much goes all the way back to Skyrim and the Golden Claw. You know, the password is on the claw. It's just as simple as that. I think that's the best guess I have for what these symbols mean. As far as my other thoughts on what it could mean, well, it might be related to the degree of difficulty of taking down that base. What I mean by this is if you compare the symbols for the Stronghold and then the Ransom Keep, the Stronghold one looks to have a couple more lines around it. The Ransom Keep one looks a little bit more simplistic. So maybe it's a rough idea of how tricky it's going to be to take the Banished down from that area. I don't really believe in that theory. Like, it is one of my theories, but I don't really support it because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You could communicate that to players for how tricky a base is to take down without giving them a whole bunch of confusing looking symbols. So I don't think that's the way that it actually is. It could be a banished language, and it could kind of give, you know, some kind of lore or some kind of extra info. Another idea is it could be related to Escharim's armor. It does have some symbols on that, but generally the symbols on his armor look a little bit different to what we see on the banished bases. I mean, like, you can look at the symbols on his armor and you can say, well, okay, that's much more complex, and they do string together a rough pattern so you can get an idea, at least, of what it's supposed to look like. The banished base symbols, they don't really look like anything in particular. So, once again, don't really believe that's the way it is. But then again, you all come up with way better ideas and theories than I ever will. So if you do have any thoughts on what these symbols might mean, then put it down in the comments and let me know. I think that's a good point to call it for today. So thank you all for watching the video until the very end. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe so we can hit 1K before Halo Infinite drops. It's all part of the great journey, brothers. Join me. I've been Kiv, and I'll see you all on the next one.